Hey racers, it's the Ice Racer here, and let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm back. I know, it's been a long time since my last upload. I do apologize. I really wanted to, but I just need to take a break. This last few months have been really hard, just mentally. I went to some pretty dark places, and it really affected both my school and just my motivation with everything, really. And I'm better now. I'm better. That's the first thing I want to address. But it meant I had to put a hiatus on uploads, and as a result, I'm very behind. I actually have up to season 5 of my team recorded, but just editing it all is going to take a while. And now with the new game coming up, I don't know how many of these I'm going to be able to do on this game, but the important thing is this. I'm going to try a new format to try and fit in as many videos as possible. I'm going to make shorter videos. I'm going to structure them almost like the highlight videos on the F1 YouTube channel. It's going to be shorter. I'm going to pretend I'm actually a commentator. And yeah, let's just see how this format goes. It should be good. That being said, on the Japanese Grand Prix, I did lose a lot of replay footage, so it's not going to look as polished as what I would have wanted it to. Hopefully the next video it'll look better. But let me know what you think of the new format. Like, share, and subscribe. It really helps. Thank you so much for supporting me, and without further ado, let's get into the Japanese Grand Prix of 2021. Welcome along, race fans, to a wet Suzuka International Circuit here in the Japanese countryside. It's been 2 years since the last time Formula 1 cars have raced around here, but finally in 2021, we're getting back to it, and with a Japanese team in Toyota Racing, their first home Grand Prix. After looking through the practice results, though, it doesn't look as though the home favorites will have a good time about it, with 16th and 20th being the positions they occupied in both practice sessions, except they were swapped between the two Japanese drivers. And it doesn't look as though all 3 Japanese drivers on the grid will have a good time around this circuit. Their cars might not be up to it. However, that doesn't mean we won't see some cracking racing at this fan favorite venue. Toyota came into this race saying that they're going to bring in some front downforce upgrades, and in an interview with team owner and racing driver Kato Watanabe, they've been investing a lot in their personnel to bring Marino Sato up to form, and we'll all need that if we want to have a good race. Anyways, heading into the first session, and you can see just how wet it is around this track. The rain really builds up around Suzuka, and we've had some cracking Japanese Grand Prix in the wet. Here goes Kato Watanabe on his first flying lap in the wet track, and oh, there he goes out into the gravel. And compromises at exit through the S's, and that car looks like it's been a handful to drive all weekend. On to a second flying up, and that's Nicholas Latifi out of the session in the Williams. That's not going to look good for Williams' race. Thankfully, Watanabe is only in the first sector, so that yellow flag shouldn't compromise his lap. And that's Sebastian Vettel out of the session as well. Cars are dropping out. Wide through 130R goes Toyota of Kato Watanabe, braking very early into the Casio triangle as to avoid sliding off the circuit. Here we go. It's a much better lap in comparison to his first flying run. And let's see where he goes. Almost a second up on his lap time, and it's P7. But this early on, that doesn't mean much. And I'm just getting word now from the garage that Toyota in the car of Kato Watanabe has suffered a major engine failure, and they won't be participating in qualifying. What a shame. And so, as Lando Norris tops the session 1/1000th of a second ahead of Valtteri Bottas, out of the 3 Japanese drivers competing in this weekend's event, 2 of them are out of the session and in the home team favorite. A hard race for Toyota heading into the race out of Q1. It's been 728 days since Formula 1 has raced the iconic Suzuka International Circuit, and since then, 4,389 days is the last time a Toyota-powered F1 car took to this circuit. Both those records look to be finishing today as we head into the 2021 Japanese Grand Prix. And here we are at the Suzuka International Circuit in the Japanese countryside, the only figure-of-8 circuit on this year's calendar. With 10 rights and 8 lefts, this circuit has boasted tons of historic moments. Turns 1 and 2, who can't forget Senna, Prost, and 130R, where Fernando Alonso went around Michael Schumacher, passing to the guard, and at a Casio triangle, Alex Albon and Lando Norris collided in 2019. Here we are to the starting grid of this year's Japanese Grand Prix, and it looks like it's going to be a sellout crowd to support the 3 Japanese drivers on the grid this year: Yuki Tsunoda, Marino Sato, and Keito Watanabe, leader of the Japanese-owned Toyota Racing. This is looking to be a great crowd for some great racing. Here we are to the starting grid for the Japanese Grand Prix. Let's see where all our drivers line up. Lando Norris takes pole position, a crazy result, and Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari takes P2 on the front row. When was the last time we saw McLaren and Ferrari on the front row? Let's hope not to repeat the same incident. Both Mercedes on the second row. Daniel Ricciardo in 5th with Max Verstappen 6th, Sergio Perez 7th, and Yuki Tsunoda 8th, the highest placed Japanese driver. Esteban Ocon 9th, Lance Stroll 10th, Antonio Giovinazzi 9th, Gasly 12th with an engine penalty. Then to George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Carlos Sainz 15th, he had to take an engine penalty alongside Kimi Raikkonen, Marino Sato, Fernando Alonso, another driver who took an engine penalty heading into this race, and now Nikita Mazepin and Vettel and Latifi unable to get times in, and Keito Watanabe having to take a full new engine last on the grid. I can't wait to see what's in store. Let's jump into the race. Here we are. The lights are on. We're back racing in Japan. Let's see what this race has in store for us. It's lights up, and away the cars go. Lando Norris blocks off Charles Leclerc, great start from the McLaren driver, and here goes Keito Watanabe up between Vettel and Latifi, in trying to get in 2 positions on the first lap. Here's contact between the Williams and the Toyota. That's compromised both cars, and got a warning for Keito Watanabe, and he's behind Sebastian Vettel, way behind the Aston Martin. No damage on that Toyota, but that's seriously going to compromise his race, and already the car is understeering on the cold medium tires on the cold circuit. Here we go. Is Watanabe looking to size up a move on Sebastian Vettel in the faster Aston Martin. Let's see where he goes. Diving down the inside into the hairpin. That's a beautiful move. And he's looking to get 2-1 along the wily old fox Fernando Alonso, seeing if he can do what he did to Schumacher in 2005. Here we go. The 2 cars side by side, Alpine and Toyota. Isn't it great to see Toyota back on the track in Japan? And unfortunately, Watanabe not able to get the move done and has to concede the place to Fernando Alonso. Let's see if he can get out of the spoon curve, heading into the run to 130R. But now the Toyota has to defend against Vettel and the Aston Martin on softer tires. He's defending the outside. Vettel, he squeezes him out, and as he goes into 130R, taking some curb, avoiding to go, making sure not to go to wide. Sure, he's not making a move, and he is down the inside of the Alpine, and Fernando Alonso quickly has to make space, and Watanabe is putting on a show for the hometown fans. And here goes past Alonso, and as he's going down the main street onto the second lap, and Vettel and Alonso, these two, we've been used to seeing these two scrap together. Unfortunately, nothing come out of it, and Watanabe goes wide into the first quarter. There's contact between him and Fernando Alonso. Will that compromise either car? Probably not. I don't think any damage, but that understeer is really bad on that Toyota, and Fernando Alonso goes around the outside of the Japanese driver, and he's going to have to settle for P20. Here we go, into the run to 130R, and Sebastian Vettel is going to try to go for it again. There's a mighty scrap going on at the back of this queue as we go at the back of the field, heading to 130R, and Vettel completely does Watanabe, but Watanabe's going to bounce back, diving into the Casio triangle, retakes the place past the 4-time world champion, and there we go, back into P20. What a cracking race. Heading on to lap 3 now, and let's see if the Toyota can actually make the move stick on Fernando Alonso. Here we go, heading into the run to 130R, caught in the slipstream. When was the last? This move seems familiar. Heading surely not on the inside of 130R. For Alonso, giving him plenty of space, not enough room, but the Casio triangle is here, and Watanabe loves a dive bomb, and there we go, Keito Watanabe. Brilliant move. He's up into P19 past the Alpine. Yellow flags in the first sector, as Keito Watanabe is again struggling to keep the car on track. Let's see what the issue is.
Okay, clear.
There seems to be a car stopped on circuit. It's the Williams and Nicholas Latifi, and this is the weekend for the Canadian driver to forget. Here we go on Nikita Mazepin. If this is the move that should be done fairly easier than the last 2 that Watanabe has had to complete. Mazepin defends the outside, but Watanabe surely not. In the inside of 130R, pushes Mazepin slightly wide, and that's another place for the Japanese driver who's up into P18, and now he sets his sights on Kimi Räikkönen. And here he goes into turn 2 now, and heading into the S's. Vettel, having made his way past the Haas, is now looking to see if he can start to move it. Understeer, this is maybe the chance to gap, and there's contact again between the two. Vettel is surely not going to like that, and Watanabe definitely doesn't as he throws the hand up into the air, but that's the place kept for Watanabe. No damage on that Toyota. And here's Kimi Räikkönen, slow through the spoon curve. And here goes Watanabe in the slipstream of Kimi Räikkönen. Again, on the outside. This is a move we've seen before. Will we get it done before 130R? Will we have to do it the hard way around the outside? Here we go, into the fast 130R. Keeps it a little... There's some track limits might be in question there, but nothing. His stewards haven't noted the incident. And here we go, Keita Watanabe all over the back of his other Japanese teammate, Marino Sato. Here we go. Look for the dive bomb. Sato defends the inside into the beginning of the Casio triangle. But Watanabe, he's going to have DRS. Surely this is an easy move past his junior teammate. Here we go. In the slipstream, over the line, heading down into the run. And the move is done easy. There was no contest, really. Get to. And who knows, maybe a little cheeky team order was placed in from the Japanese driver, who now sets the sight on the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Here we go. Lap 8. As the DRS is open. Sainz and Russell fighting each other. Sainz down the inside. Will we get the move done? And Russell, squeezes the Ferrari into the inside. Sainz has to concede the place, and now Russell's left invulnerable to Keita Watanabe. Again, Sainz and Russell. Sainz gets the move done on George Russell, and Watanabe looking for a dive bomb. Oh, he's surely not on, and he makes contact with the Williams. He's contacted the Williams. No damage done to either party. Are we looking for round 2 between Watanabe and Russell? Let's see what this scrap has in store for us. Watanabe, he's made a few overtakes down here. Deploying battery, surely, down the outside of George Russell in the Williams. And that is probably one of the easiest moves he's made this race, let's be honest. Putting on a good show, although I'm sure the fans wouldn't mind seeing the Toyota cars make it into the points. But with the state that it's in this first season, I doubt it. But as now all the soft tire runners are into the pit lane, and surely Watanabe will make some positions here, having started on the medium compound, and he's up into the top 10. And now the other cars are starting to pit now. Stroll, Hamilton, surely he'll get by Stroll. I doubt he'll get by Hamilton, who is way up the field in comparison to where Watanabe was before the pit stop started. And yes, Watanabe gets past Stroll into P9. And I'm not sure if he can keep this, but those medium tires should last a little longer. On to lap 17 now. All the medium tire runners pit 4 laps previous. So this has been an almighty stint. Surely, could he be going for an aggressive one-stop strategy onto the soft tires? We'll see. But those medium tires really started to let go towards the end of this stint. So I'm not sure if his outlap or his in-lap was enough to keep those positions. And here we go. He's going to rejoin the track. P12, P14, and Vettel, his undercut has worked. So Toyota's aggressive strategy might be good for this phase of the race. We'll see if he can make those positions back on the softer compound with definitely more grip and quicker to come up the temperature than some of the other drivers who've been on those medium tires for quite a bit. And yes, the car is sticking to the circuit as he goes down towards... And who is Hamilton? That's Hamilton. Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton is out of the Japanese Grand Prix. Here we go, sizing up to Giovinazzi. Looking for P13 on this grid. Watanabe surely has been making moves, although he would have probably liked to have been in the points at this point. Here we go, DRS, ERS, the point. In the slipstream of Antonio Giovinazzi, and that's a very simple move. Soft tires against hard tires, that's a no contest, really. Let's see. And now he sets his sight on the man, Sebastian Vettel. Here we go, 2 laps remaining, and Vettel, and there's a queue forming. Watanabe sees his chance for points right ahead of him. If he can get past all these cars, surely this will be a good start for the Japanese favorites. Vettel locks up into the Casio triangle, which probably helped him in his defense, as Watanabe can't get by the 4-time world champion. Now, DRS, ERS, but this is a DRS train. Surely this slips with Vettel being dragged along. Watanabe won't be able to make the move. Watanabe's close, but not close enough into the first corner. Vettel keeps the position on the penultimate lap of this Japanese Grand Prix. And As the laps go on, those tires, yep, look at the understeer's back. And here we are, 130R, Vettel, and the train. It's a little further ahead. Can Watanabe do this? Is he going to go desperate? He is down the outside, but he got some tires on the grass. He's lost all traction, and he's skipped the chicane. He has to rejoin the track, and Vettel and the other cars have pulled away a distance. And I think that is Watanabe's chances for points over on the final lap. Through the S as we go. Little far. Whoa, he's wide. Oh, and he slips. Oh, that could have been the end of the Toyota drivers' race as Valtteri Bottas wins the Japanese Grand Prix over Lando Norris. A shame for Lando Norris and the McLaren team, looking for another win to add. 13th. From last on the grid, that's a very respectable position for the Toyota driver. And I'm getting word that the fans have voted him driver of the day. So not a bad result for Toyota in their first race, and hopefully not their last, as this team looks to go further on. And here are our standings for the Japanese Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas takes the win over Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen in Honda takes the third place on the podium. So not a bad day in all for Japanese power. And Sebastian Vettel unable to make up the positions that he needs to make after DNFing in qualifying. And Keito Watanabe, 13th. It's a shame, but with Yuki Tsunoda in the points for AlphaTauri, that's gonna do some good for the Japanese fans. Fernando Alonso, that Alpine, really not looking very good, and Moreno Sato loses the place into P18. In the end, not a very good day for Toyota. Japan will rejoice at the 1 point and the fact that the Honda power unit got on the podium, but it's not looking that good, at least for this season. Hopefully, better Japanese Grand Prix to come for Japanese drivers. Here we go, driver standings. Valtteri Bottas has a commanding 44-point lead over Lewis Hamilton. At this point, it's his race to lose. And AlphaTauri and Toyota Racing tied on points for P6 in the Constructors' Championship. This is a fight that surely will go down to the wire, unlike at the top of the table. It's been a great return to the Suzuka International Circuit. I can't wait to come back next year, but until then, we have another race at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Hopefully you'll join us then. And from me, that's it from Formula One. We'll see you in a week's time. Goodbye.